Okay guys, here we've got a nice Oakwood bait runner. This is the RS500C model. It's actually a good quality little reel. I bought this for £25, but I bought a rod and reel combo, two rod reel combo setup for £100, so it works out £25 for the reel. It's actually got a plastic body on it and a nice little metal handle. All folds away nicely, look, for storage and stuff like that. They're actually good reels, nice sturdy. You can target big fish, little fish, and yeah, they work quite well. I've had these for about 4 months and they haven't let me down yet. I've pulled 20s in on them. I've pulled tiny little 1 pounders in on them. Yeah, they just work. So that's my reel. Nice little bait runner, you know, works every single time. Clip on, clip off. You got a front drag, back drag for adjusting it. Yeah, they're good wholesome little reels. They work very well. Oh, here we have the rods. Now, this rod is 2 3/4 test curve. It's a 2-piece rod. Comes in 2 sections that you just piece together, 2 lengths of 6 foot. It's quite easily stored. You know, I don't really use a rod bag for these. I normally have them set up for purposes of video. I've took them down, given you a run through of what they are. But again, they handle very well for a rod of the price they're at. You know, £25 for a rod. It's considerably good value for money. 2 3/4 test curve. I put a 3-ounce lead on this with a bait bag. Nice solid bag, and it works a treat. It handles absolutely smooth. It's perfect, even with the reel. So yeah, a good buy. And it just shows that you don't have to spend a lot to produce the fish, or to do fishing or carp fishing for that matter of fact. So yeah, it's a good buy. So £50 if you want to set up on one, £50 rod and reel. I suggest if you're just getting into fishing, then you set up on one rod, and that's the rod and reel sort. You go for a cheap one to start off with. I'm normally fishing on Foxy S10,000s. They're not particularly another expensive reel, but they're a good reel. They're better than this one, but again, that does the damage. It gets the fish. So yeah, that's the reel and the rod combo. Now what I put under that is in ways of indication and alarms and stuff like that, and how I set up. Normally I see a lot of people fishing on rod pods now, and yeah, they're okay, they're bulky, but you can't go wrong with the old-fashioned bank sticks. Now, I love it. I have one fixed, one adjustable, indicator, alarm, and butt grip. So my adjustable one, which as you can see, if you just untwist that there, it's a Dinsmore, nice and cheap, probably about £2.50. You can get one from any local tackle shop, any tackle shop, online, eBay. You know, it depends. You normally get good deals online if you saw some. But yeah, I had to go pick up 2 new ones today because my old butt grips had failed. But I picked up some lovely, nice little Pro Logics. As you can see, they open up and they lock in onto the rod when you put the end of your rod in, so fish can't take it. When you pull your rod out, they pop out. Lovely bit of kit. I'll show you how it all goes together. So first of all, this is what I use for my front bank stick. As I showed you previously, it's adjustable. First you take your bite indicator, so this is your bobbin, or whatever you'd like to call it, your indicator. Just put that, there's a little bit of a thread that comes on the other end of the actual indicator itself. You just stick that on top of your bank stick. Make sure it's nice and flush. There's a thread on the bottom of your bite alarm, and that just simply screws straight into it, all the way down until you make it nice and tight and it sits. You got a little bit of a gold little screw cap underneath on most alarms that come as a standard, so that just screws back onto itself and just secures your indicator into place. So that's what I put on the front of my rod, but as you can see, it looks a bit strange. I think, what's that thing on top? It's not going to work. But this is my bite alarm. Now, I actually had these alarms for quite a while. You can see they come with a nice rubber stop, and yeah, this is a Witchwood signature. They can get them in single alarms, you can get them in packs of 2. And they do very well. I've had plenty of fish out on these things. They're very loud for what they are. You know, you can plug in light up indicators. I think you can even get receivers for them as well. But I've got a set of 2 of these along with a set of 2 of other alarms for backup as well. But again, that's the front of the setup. They're quite easy to function. Come with 3 buttons: your volume, sensitivity and your tone. These ones turn on obviously via the volume. You know, you can go through all your tones, change the volume settings on it, and even the sensitivity. They're a good little bit of kit, nice and compact, easy to store. I swear by them on a quick day session, even on a night session. If you keep them close enough to the bivvy, they wake you up, they do the job. So that's what I've got at the front, and that's what sits on the rod. Next I've got my back stick, and I like these to be fixed because it just gives me that little bit of security. I adjust the height, so I normally pin these in, not too deep, enough for my reels just to sit off the floor. But again, same with the bite indicator. The butt grip just screws into the back. Make sure it's not cross-threaded so you don't mess up the thread on it, as they are already made out of plastic, so they're easy to cross-thread and chew up. But again, when you put that on, I'll just run you through now. You dig that into the ground, stick the back of your rod into it, and as you can see, it sits nice and snug, so the fish ain't going to take it. When I pull it up, when I'm taking it and getting into a strike or into a fish, it just pops straight out for me, and it unsecures the rod for the angler. And that's the basic setup. That's, if you're starting out, I'd advise you to just start like that. 1, keep it simple on 1. When you feel comfortable with 1, then yeah, knock it up to 2. I only fish on 2. I've been fishing for most of my life. Carp fishing properly now for the last probably 4-5 years. You just sort of learn your own techniques and go with it from there. What I might tell you might not work for you. You might take something from this video today and then put your own spin on it, but you know, it's just a little bit to teach you and help you along the way. But that's how I fish, and that's the sort of the setup that I use, whether that's on 1 rod, 2 rods, or maybe if I feel up to it, I'll get a 3rd rod out every now and again. But again, mainly 2 rods is enough for me. So now I've attached the rod to the reel, or the reel to the rod, however you want to look at it. I've fed the line under the bait runner, under the bail arm should I say, up through all of the eyes, and then I've just lost the line, it's just pinged up on me. Give me a second. And straight back down to the table. And now I'm going to give you a little run through of sort of the setup and how we're going to set up and what's needed to make it work and get you some fish. Let me just secure that there. So first of all, let me have a look at my little box of magic. We're going to make a rig. So let me move this out of the way a little bit. Now we get all the little bits we need. So I've got some soft end trap. This is actually 20 pound breakage. It's nice and strong. Some nice quarter. So it's a good make. It works. It definitely works. It's very strong. It gets you out them situations. If you have to snag it out the reeds, or it's not going to get caught up on anything and break. It's very good. I highly recommend it. So that's what I use as my hook length. I use a size 4 hook, but then again it can range anywhere from size 4 to a size 6. I've even known to use a 10 sometimes. So that's the hook I'm using. They do come bad, but I do pinch them down. Yeah, it's the only ones the tackle shop had at the time. So I'll give you a little run through of how we're going to make the rig, what I do to position the bait on the rig, how I tie the rigs, and then how we attach them to the rod. So I'm going to need, for that, I will need the soft end trap, a pair of scissors, I'll need my hook, I'll need a baiting needle, which is one of these here. I will need my running lead, or however you want to do it. I fish quite primitive, but it works, it's easy, it's accessible for everybody. If they want to just pick up the rod, they can just crack on and set up quite easy enough like this and land some fish on the bank. So what I'll need to go with then is some swivels, as well as my hook, my baiting needle, my weight and my hook length. What else am I missing? Of course, if you want to check the size and the if your baits you want to put on, I normally use a Snowman double 15mm or a single 15mm or a 15mm pellet, depending on where I'm fishing and what I'm trying to catch. So I like to genuinely, if I'm going to make my own rigs, which I always do, I will pull off just a little piece of the bait stock, which you get quite a lot of on a nice little spool like that. You break them off and you use them. So they come in quite handy for measuring the bait and the distance from the hook to the actual hair. I fish mainly hair rigs, odd runny rig here and there, but I like to fish off nice short rigs, nice take, so when it takes it's a nice short snap, nice take, and it will hook into the fish. So you cut yourself roughly, I've got a nice rig wallet here and it gives me some nice measurements. It goes up to 12 inches. My hook link, this is what I'm going to be making my my rig with. I've got about 30 centimetres of soft end trap. It's from Corda, it's £20 breakage, so it's quite strong. It gets you out of them situations. If you get snagged up or you get caught on a snag, it's enough to pull, it's not going to break. Now this is coated, I like it coated, it's a little bit better, it gives you a bit more variety on the rig choice. Coated green, so yeah, well, silt should I say. So I fish a lot of silt ponds, so it blends in and it's nice to camouflage. So now I'm going to show you how to tie a simple hair rig. So first we want to take off a nice bit of the coating. You can get machines to do this, or you can simply just pull it off, it's easy enough. And in the bottom of that, what you want to do is you just want to fold it back on itself, make a little loop like so, and just tie it off. A little overhand loop. Try not to waste so much of the material if you can help it. I know beginners, you might want to tie them a little bit bigger. I like to tie them quite big at the bottom, just enough to get the bait stop through. As you can see, it can be quite tricky no matter how much practice you put in. So once you get the knot, let me start again. So once you get the knot, you simply pull it through, pull it taut, and that leaves you with, if I can separate it, where's my baiting needle? That leaves you with a nice little loop for the bottom of the hair. Now that's a little bit big, but again, it's going to do the job. The boilie's going to sit over the knot, the stop's going to sit on it, and you'll be left with a little bit of excess. So get your scissors, or you can burn it. I tend to use scissors as it's a bit safer. You're not gonna weaken your line by burning it with heat. It's generally good to have a nice pair of braid scissors, but I use these scissors for everything. Normally they cut quite well. But once cut, you should be left with nothing but a little loop and a little knot, like so. Now, to gauge how far you want your hook to sit away from your bait, because your bait's going to sit just below here. Now, to do that, I have some bait side of me, some nice boilies, and they're Candy Nut Crush, 15mm diameter. Now I like to snowman these, so snowmanning is sticking boilie on boilie, like so. And to attach these to here, we've got something called a baiting needle. Now, keeping as central as you can into the boilie, making sure you don't catch your fingers on top, it's been done. Hold it at the side and just penetrate the boilie nice and central with both of them straight onto the needle like so. And once you've got that, you'll see you've got like a little hook on the end of the needle. Just be careful not to get it in, because yeah, if you try and pull it out, it's gonna hurt. But you'll make that mistake and you'll learn, like we all did. So let's have a look at getting this onto the hook length now. So as you can see, I've hooked it through the loop at the bottom, and all you want to do is just push the boilie onto the line or onto the braid. And once you've done that, expose the loop on the other side, like so. You can pull it up at this stage however far you want, and then you get yourself a little bait stop. Now these come on a big pole. You get them in packs of like 3 packs of these sleeves, and just one of these little bits of plastic with a notch in the middle just to catch the loop. You put that through the loop. It's transparent, so it can be tricky, but once you get it, you should be able to pull it down, and the braid will sit nice and snug in between them bits of plastic. Pull the boilie down nice and tight to it, and there you have it. Your boilies are sitting nicely on the braid and they're not going nowhere. So now I've got that, I want to be positioning my hook. So my hook's a size 4. As you can see, it's got a barb on it, but I'll do it on a pair of pliers to pinch it down and take that barb off. But for purposes of the video, I'll set up the rig now. So with the hook, you hold the hook. I like to hold it in my right hand with the point facing out. So that's how I'll hold it. It might vary to what hand you tie rigs with, or what hand's the dominant hand. Right, so now I get the hook, get the braid, poke it through the back of the hook. So put it through the eye to the back, pull it up, and now you can sort of gauge where you want your hook to sit away from your boilies. Now you want enough movement so when the fish takes it, it's going to move in its mouth, and it gives a chance for the hook to twist and set, which I will show you eventually once I've tied the rig and showed you how to secure the boilies in place. So now you've got the boilies where you want them. I want mine to sit round about here. Wrap it round 7 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you push it back through the same way you put it through. So put through the back of the eye again, and then literally pull it round, and where you got the big loop, feed the braid through the big loop and pull up and pull tight. That is a knotless knot. Now my hook is not going to move anywhere, and that's your standard rig for a beginner carp fisherman. Now this rig will catch on most waters, this rig will catch any type of fish. I've caught bream, roach, carp, tench, so it's a universal rig, it just works. So that's what I use genuinely everywhere. Unless you can't fish like that, if it's too weedy, you need to use a chub rig or you need to zig, then fair enough, by all means that's the rigs you're going to have to choose. But for most places you'll get away with a standard hair rig or a nice Ronnie rig with a nice bait screw on it. But that is my go-to rig, that catches me the fish. Right, so now I've done the bottom half of the rig. Let's just switch it round and I'll take you to the top. And now we're at the top. You need to remove the boilies from the bottom like so. Take them, put them to the side, and you'll be left with your hair rig. Now we're at the top. We need to strip back just a bit off the top coat, and again, easy enough. Make sure you don't impale yourself on the hook, so you got a tight grip on this bit of the braid so it don't impale yourself in. There's many times that I've had a hook stuck under the bottom of my hand, and yeah, it's not very nice, especially if it's barbed. So just be extra careful when doing that. Again, you just want to put nice overhand loop at the top. Make it quite big, because I'll show you why in a sec. This is where you're going to attach it to your swivel. So again, just a simple overhand loop, pull it up, make it nice and taut, trim the excess. Again, a pair of braid scissors might be better, but these ones work quite well. And then you take your swivel, And now you took the boilies off of the bottom because you're actually going to attach it to the swivel just by looping it through, and the boilies are not going to fit through your top loop. So what you want to do there is you take a normal swivel, feed the end of it through, take the end with the hook, and then just pull it through that loop. Be careful not to pierce the braid if you do it like this way, and because you split the braid and you go through the middle of it. So what you want to do is you want to pull that all the way over, pull it all the way down, and that is your rig attached to your swivel. As you can see, if I give it a tug, it's not going nowhere, it's nice and tight, and that's your perfect hair rig set up. And now to attach it to the line with the lead and the rig all in place, and give you the rundown of the setup basically, and how to put it together. Now I've showed you how to tie the rig, we'll show you how to get the weight onto the line and the rig underneath. So let me just unclip my line here, clipped it up so it didn't ping away. As you can see, the reel's come with a nice little clip on the side, keeps your line nice and secure. But if you take the pair lead, running inline pair lead as I like to call them, and this is the top of the lead, so it will fire out that way. So you want to put your line through the top, feed it all the way through until it comes out the bottom, like so. That just shows you it runs, and that's why it's called a running lead. We then take the rig, which is what we made earlier, get the swivel, take the line that's poking out the bottom, you feed it through the swivel eye, you pull it back on itself, like so, about that much, probably about 3 to 4 inches. And then you need to wrap it round 7 times. To doing this, I like to keep my finger just at the top of the swivel and hold it tight. So you wrap it round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I kept my finger there, and I like to just, you got to take the end of the line now that's cut, and you need to bring it down and put it through the hole where your finger is, keeping it nice and straight as you pull it down. Don't pull it too tight too soon, because when you do that you cause friction on the line, and the friction makes the line brittle then. So what I then like to do is I'll just pick it up, give it a little bit of one of them, that just takes the friction off the line. As you can see, if you pull it down, it sits nice. Then I like to take the rig and just give it a nice tug, and that sets it and sets the knot, as you can see. And then all you do then is you take the excess, give it a trim down, and that is a grinner knot, perfectly tied for a running rig on a running lead. Now the hair rig that we made is good for boilies, i.e. bottom baits, so they sit on the bottom like that. If you want to turn it into a pop-up rig, all you need to do then is just literally peel back a little bit of the coating at the bottom of the hook, exposing probably about 1 centimetre or so, just over. Purposes of the video, I've got a nice bright shot there, if you can see it, and you just want that sitting just a little bit above the hook. So if I put that on, give it a little pinch off with my teeth, take it about 10mm just off the hook, pinch it on, give it a little bite. Now when your bait's on the bottom and you put a pop-up on, or a double pop-up, it's only going to pop up like that, and it's going to sit nice. Also, if you don't like how your bait's sitting, you can also put a bit of shrink tubing just down over this, just to hold it to the shank a little bit more, and then you can position your bait under your hook or at the back, depending on how you like fishing, and preferably where you want to position your bait. But this rig just works all around. A lot of my friends complex it, make it a lot more complex than it needs to be, and yeah, I produce on these all the time, so yeah, they just work.